Thank you for joining us today. We're here for part 2 of the Countryview interview. Joining us today is Dan Cardoza, one of our breed icons. How are you doing here today, Dan?
How are you, Lauren?
I'm doing well, thank you. So let's get started. In part 1, we discussed your many accolades of the past and some historic and record-breaking dogs. Let's bring that conversation kind of to the present here. Where's your breeding program at today? Any dogs you're excited about?
Well, I've kind of slowed down a little bit. I've gotten so busy. I own my own business. I took over my family business. My parents are in their 80s, so now they have a humongous pot of property that needs to be maintained. And so I've kind of slowed down a little bit. I probably house like 4 dogs, 5 dogs tops. I never had a lot of large numbers. Like I always kind of controlled myself. I always put 6 pens up so I couldn't fill any more. But I actually had a help of Kyle, a muscleman from Michigan. He's actually jumped on with Countryview to help me out a lot, and I'm very appreciative of that.
Okay, that's wonderful. So speaking of, maintaining a small breeding program, but still having, producing pivotal dogs and exceptional results, do you think that's an advantage to have a small breeding program over a large breeding program?
Well, it saves you a lot of money because dog food is rather expensive.
Mm-hmm.
There are some advantages and disadvantages of that. Like I said in the previous interview, I really wasn't able to utilize a lot of my stud dogs. Other people had more success than I did. But I don't keep more than 1 or 2 bitches and a couple of boys, and that's really about it. So I probably could have gotten a little further if I had kept more numbers. But sometimes, a number is really that good. I mean, if you keep the best things, you can probably do great things with it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And speaking of choosing who to keep, when choosing a show puppy, when do you feel confident about ultimate eye placement for your satisfaction? Is there an age? What are your thoughts with that?
Well, you can kind of tell eye placement when they're very young, although I stand corrected. Sometimes there were some outcrosses that I thought the eyes were too far apart. And then as the head pulled, the muzzle kind of pulled away from the eye a little bit so to allow it to transfer inward. But usually I like to look at them from afar. I stand back and how a lot of us can just sit and watch them for hours. Like, oh my God, 3 hours pass already? You just I just kind of watch them a lot. And, I always like to, when you get up really close to them, sometimes it's kind of an illusion because you're kind of like in real time, you're caught up with everything about them. But when you stand further back, you can actually see where the eyes are and where the muzzle is. And you can actually tell the eyes go a little bit too low. I call them anchors, put anchors on them, and there they go, downward. So I like to, I can tell eye set. I mean, years ago, I can remember going to Steve's. I apprenticed with Steve, and I was like 16, 17 years old. And John was there, actually. He had come to visit. I think Heir Apparent actually was in his heyday then. And we had some puppies. My mom and I bred to Canterbury Concord, which basically was a gladiator grandson. And John came over to me and he said, sometimes they can fool you, but always look at, from the side, the corner of the eye must point towards the nose. And if you kind of go by that standard, you play it safe. And usually when the head pulls out, everything kind of goes out with it. So I've always kind of looked at that. And there's a lot to that because when doing the Eyes Have It seminar, we looked at various dogs, and some of the eyes go up versus forward to the nose.
Mm-hmm.
More of that is the muzzle is raised too high. So if like it's kind of odd. The eyes kind of sink further and they have to look upward towards the nose. And you can see that a lot in puppies, you know, and eyes look almost like they're too low in the skull because the top of the muzzle is so high, so it has to like look up to see anything, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm very visual, so you know, it's kind of how I say it.
Yeah, it makes sense. So you have consistently produced dogs that are national winning caliber for decades. What are some of your breeding philosophies that you feel have contributed to that success?
I usually work from my gut. When I let people interfere with my thinking process, it doesn't work very well. You know, it almost casts a spell on what you want to do. And I've had more success when I told no one what I was doing and the trap was shut and it didn't interfere with my positive thoughts of thinking about dogs. So I learned to do that again. I started doing that again. You know, let's face it. Sometimes people aren't very happy for you. And you have to follow what you feel is right. You know, I have said before, you always got to follow your gut. You know, when you start interfering people into your thought pattern, it kind of screws you up. It makes you doubt yourself. You know, you're much more safe when you feel it from within, you know.
Yeah, I love that. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So, and speaking of, you know, having that success, you know, you've created a family of dogs with recognizable attributes and a consistent look that says Countryview. How have you achieved that?
Well, I think when you consistently pick for a certain look, it will transfer from generation to generation. You know, you start picking for something else, you're gonna lose your look. Let's face it. You know, if I'm looking for a long head, maybe I'll lose my stop. It's hard to get everything in one little package. So you start picking for a stop, and you're gonna lose your eyes. You know, I mean, it's if I had one time I went to the Robichon's house, and I think they particularly look for certain things. And I said to Mary, I said, wow, every one of your dogs looks the same. And she was very proud. I would be too, to hear that, you know. So I've always loved beautiful faces because if they don't have it, I don't keep them. So I'm hoping that, you know, a beautiful face will always be part of the look of Countryview. Plus, I have to have balance too. You know, I can't keep anything without balance. It just turns my stomach. You know, I just got to have it.
Mm-hmm. And with that, so kind of moving on into a different direction here, why do you think there is a lack of pivotal sires in the collie breed today?
Why do I think? It's hard to answer that question because, you know, when we had these pivotal sires, we had a lot of great breeders who produced them for us. You know, I think Brandon was a pivotal sire. I think the Critics' Choice was the Gladiator, the Heir Apparent. You know, some of these great dogs, they were pivotal sires because they had great success at it. You know, it's hard to produce them now. You know, it's just like making a recipe and you run out of sugar and no one has the sugar anymore to make the recipe taste good. You know, you had to really look close to come up with those type of dogs. I think we all strive to produce a pivotal sire, unless you just love to have bitches. But I've always been more fond with stud dogs. I don't know why. It kind of the flagship of your kennel is your stud dogs. I mean, of course, the bitches do accomplish quite a bit too. I mean, there probably are some pivotal sires. I'm trying to think right now. little embarrassing. You know, I mean, Coldplay was a very well used stud dog, and he usually stamped his mark. I mean, even the Avalanche dog. I mean, he's now gone, but I mean, you kind of knew that look that he kind of produced.
Mm-hmm.
That just that way of the tight ears and the crest of neck and how the stop fit, and you know, it's just there's a certain look that even the Milas, like you always tell something Milas. You know what I mean? You know, and even the Clarion, you know, everyone has their own little niche, characteristic that stands out from the rest.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah. Is there a dog that you wish that you had incorporated in your breeding program when they were around?
Dog. Well, you know, living in New England, you have the cream of the crop back then. I mean, John was 6 hours away. We go up to Tartonside, and we did Tartonside. No, I bred to Brandon. I mean, there were dogs that I thought were good from my family. I did. I think I would have bred to Eden Rock, Strike It Rich. I really liked that dog, and Adrian knows that. I've always said I love that dog, and she's oh I know you do, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I shot him one year at the National, and he's had this beautiful headpiece, you know, and he's a bigger dog, but I liked a lot about him, you know. He just, you know, he had the look of a stud dog. He was masculine, but yet elegant in head and good size and decent neck. You know, he great headpiece on him, nice profile. You know, so that dog I always wanted to breed to. But, you know, being in California, that was impossible because I don't feel comfortable shipping bitches, especially now. I won't ship bitches. You know. Other dogs. I wanted to use Fantasies Cover Up. He was by Camouflage, but I don't think he produced very long. But he was a beautiful dog. I love that dog. Other dogs. I'm not sure. No, I think I said enough about that.
Sure. So next question. Let's see here. So what kennels of the past have made an impact on your vision of the collie and why?
Of course, Brandon. I mean, my mother was, Brandon was pretty big. Well, of course, Brandon was up in the East Coast, so my mother dealt with a lot of Brandon. Up here, they did a lot of Brandon Ginger type of combinations. So my mother was always big about Brandon,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But she kind of brainwashed me about getting that big old neck, you know, and the tight ears and nap. I think as I learned more, Tocalan or Tokalon, I don't know, you know, tomato, you know, really like those dogs and the Poplar dogs. You know, No Fooling I thought he was beautiful in those pictures. So I love to see that dog. And the Poplar dogs, of course, they were spinoffs from Tocalan, and they were really pretty. You know, that inspired me. I also like the pictures and the cues of, I think it was Honey Hill Harvester. He was in the back of the cues, the muzzle, and I always liked that dog. And Wickmere Battle Chief, I thought it was beautiful. Plus, you know, I was a kid, I just did that mahogany coat right to the ground. It was just very dramatic looking. I like that. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's see, can you discuss the importance of attending the national specialty? What are some tips, events, or seminars that's, you know, people can take advantage while they're at CCUA to expand their knowledge of the collie?
Well, I mean, CCUA means a lot of things for a lot of people. I mean, the handlers make their year's wage showing dogs, and which is great. You know, I like to go to really talk to people. The national to me is having conversation and talking dogs. I could sit all day and talk dogs with people. I just love it. You know, and I like to actually sit and see who's producing what. I'm so interested to see what dog is producing what. I like to do that. And just hang out with people that, we meet so much great people at the National. And you look forward to seeing them. That's why just this year was a big disappointment for all of us. I mean, it's not even about showing, it's about being with your tribe. You know what I'm saying? You talk the same talk, and you discuss dogs. And I love a healthy debate on any dog. I love it. And you sit there and you talk dogs, and you roam around. I can remember going to the National, and I was younger, and the houses were really big back then, and there was rows and rows of these beautiful little puppies, beautiful eyes, and and everyone's like ooh ah ooh ah. They'd go down the aisle and look at all the Twin Creek puppies. That was kind of exciting. I mean, it's different. I showed a lot of the star dogs. That was kind of exciting too, and specials. But I mean, it's really nice to go shopping, to see, I mean, you go to the National to see breeding stock, but to me, it's a whole thing. Seminars, if they're good seminars, yeah, I mean, I really think we need to get back to breeding dogs in our seminars. We've done a lot of other things with the breeders thing. I think we need to teach the standard again, because I don't think anyone really understands it any longer. Have a seminar on correct head, have a seminar on structure, and don't just sit there and go blah 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 blah. Look at the screen. Look at the screen. Who cares about that? Quiz people. And when I did my seminar up in New England, the first Eyes Have It, I quizzed people in the audience, because now they're terrified they're going to be called on. So they actually answer. They pay attention. I'd love to put them on the spot, not to make fun of them. I do it jokingly, but I want them to pay attention. How can you learn without paying attention? It's like watching TV while you're on the phone. You go, what happened? Oh, I don't know. I was on the phone. I mean, you need to be focused, and if they know, oh my God, they're going to call me, they're going to pay attention, So I think seminars should really be geared back to breeding dogs again. I know they've done a lot with health issues and reproductive stuff, that, yeah, you can call you a vet for that. You know what I mean? Well, who can you call on about learning your standard and breeding good dogs and showing the differences between different types and what draws you to them? You need to have people get more creative in their mindset, because they can turn it on if you allow it to,
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. So you became involved in collies at a very young age. What has kept you passionate and in the breed for the length of your lifetime? And what are your thoughts on the breed's number of promising young breeders and handlers? What do you think has contributed to that as well?
I think friends. I think friends who inspire me, friends that we can debate on the phone, that's what keeps me going. I think Pam had once said, the thing she misses the most is the people. Because they're like your peers, they're like your friends, they're like your support system. It's like they're a family. We're all family. We may be competitive, we may be catty sometimes, because we do. But I believe if they were in need, we would step up and help each other. I think I would miss that. The love and respect, even though we really, have issues with a lot of people. I think we would step up if really needed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's my friends. I love going to shows. I love talking dogs. Of course, I like. I mean, I would still produce what I liked, but not to go to another dog show again. It's a little sad. I think I would. I think we all inspire each other. Your friends inspire you. Your peers, you like a sounding board. You run ideas off each other. I've had many conversations with Diane Fitzpatrick and Kathy Drabick just recently, and we sit there and we're like, no, I'm not right, and it just gets your creative juices flowing, and, I mean, Diane and I always had great conversations together because she knew the gladiator, she touched the gladiator, and she knew full dress, and she knew a lot of the Bry Hill Rivette dogs. That was that was her heyday, as when Diane got started. And it's nice to hear her talk about those dogs because she's also very passionate about dogs. And Kathy and I always go back and forth about breeders ed. We always judges ed. I sound off to her, what do you think about this? Or I talk to Annette, or I talk to Matt. I mean, people that I care about. It's good to have people who have your back and care about you. Because what do you have if you don't have those people in your life? So I think that's what keeps me going, is the love for the breed and the love of friendships that I've created over the years in dogs.
I love that. It's like we're all a dysfunctional family, but in a good way. So kind of turning gears here, you bred and owned a certain Sable Merle dog, champion Countryview, give my regards. Has been the sire of more national winners than any other sire in breed's history. With that kind of expertise and perspective, what is your opinion on the current discussion pertaining to Sable Merles and changing the standard?
Well, he was also the top producing Sable Merle dog of all time, to date anyway. I'm sure someone will break that, but to date he is. Well, let's put it this way. He was a Sable Merle dog, and he finished under all-arounders. All-arounders have put him up along with specialty. I mean, Doris Roderman did it. Charlotte McGowan put him up. And they said that they weren't a fan of Sable Merles, but he had a beautiful headpiece and eye, and that was to be rewarded. So I don't think it is a war on Sable Merle. They judge the dog on its virtue. I think the standard is pretty explicit about the colors in this breed. Varying shades from fawn to dark mahogany. Well, it already says it. In Judges Ed, I came up with a graph. I call it a classification. And I really like it. It was a bar scale of a fawn colored all the way up to a dark mahogany. It was all varying shades. And it covered it. I mean, it was basically a visual of the written word. I have never had a problem finishing a Sable Merle. If you don't win under a judge who doesn't like him, don't show to him. I've always thought this way. And I've always wanted to change the standard. It's almost like, and I said this before years ago when Tom did this thing, if I keep getting a ticket going 50 and a 35, then maybe I want to change the speed limit so I don't get any more tickets. You know what I mean? It's the same thing. You don't show under the jerks who don't like them. And we call them jerks because they are jerks, because they don't get it. We sent out a classification to all the all-breed judges. We got one reply back that they disagreed. Well, too bad. I don't disagree with a lot of all-breed judging. You know what I mean? And I've talked about this. I had a little tangent on the board meeting one time. Here we are. We're at a pivotal state of this breed. We're lacking front. We're lacking balance, depth of body, lack of chest, square croups, bad tails, long hocks, horrible eye set, incorrect stops. It's in the standard. They're still not finding it. So what makes you think adding the word sable merle is going to change anything? People are still going to have their preference and what they want to look at. It's not going to change anything. You know, it's just not. You know, if they want to state a case and stomp their feet and get notarized, let them. If we ignore them, they didn't accomplish their task of dying for attention. So it doesn't need to be done. I mean, I had no problem finishing sable merles. I have no problem putting sable merles up. I don't. I've done it a lot. Long as the eye is dark and it doesn't affect the sweet inquisitiveness of expression.
Yeah, it all comes down to virtue at the end of the day.
Down to the judge's personal taste, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If they personally don't like it, here's my way out. You know what I mean? So there's no reason for it. It's already in our standard. Varying shades. They go, well, it should be in our standard. Like I just said, I listed almost 10 reasons what's going on in the breed. And they're still putting all those faults up. And you think putting sable merle is going to change anything? I would listen to what the breed's actually lacking and reward those virtues instead of throwing out a cop-out. What's not in the standard? Oh, shut up. You know, read it. You have eyes. Read it. Right on there. Everyone's a crybaby. Me. It's all about, oh, I want it for, you know. No, not everyone needs a ribbon for participating. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, give me a break. You know, not many sable merles have been thrown to the side. Everyone I've talked to have never said, judges have never said they will not put up sable merles because they have. Why would you want to take the opinion of a person who never bred really a collie, or if they did anything of merit in this breed, and you want their personal opinion? That's like me going to the market and asking someone about a sports car. Nothing to do with the market, a supermarket, whole different entity. If she bred Dobermans, who is she to be criticizing our standard, or what kind of breed she ever bred? I'm just sick of it. Everyone wants to stomp their feet and cry and cry and cry. My voice has to be heard. You know, sable merles have been recognized for years. Hundreds of sable merles have won. 2 sable merles have won Best of Breed at a national. You know, many sable merles have won groups. Many sable merles have won majors under all-arounders. You just show to the smart ones. Do your research. When you buy anything, you open the Consumer Report and go, oh yeah, this one's da-da-da-da. Research your judges. If you don't want to waste your money, research the money you're investing. Be a savvy consumer. Okay, that's it.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. Champion Countryview's Tonight's the Night had 3 Best in Show winning daughters, which is quite the feat for a collie sire to have 3 daughters do that. What were the virtues that those 3 shared that set them apart and made them worthy to win at the All Breeds?
They had good legs. They had good balance. I mean, I'm trying to think all of them. One was champion Countryview, Steelor Stardom. She was a very sound bitch, beautiful silvery blue, great legs on her. The other one I think was, oh boy, I'm gonna get murdered for oh, champion Crispin Faithful, another blue bitch, owned by Barbara Korb up in Maine. She did a lot of winning too, and she was always in the top 10. She single tracked in rear and front. She moved effortlessly across the floor. She could do it all day and never get tired. I'm sure she also did very well in agility, because Barbara did very well in agility. And the other one, the most famous gal of all, was champion Rosebank Loughlaren, Keep It a Secret. She was a beauty, you know, and she had it all. You know, she had beautiful eyes and really soft curves and good legs, and also won at the national multiple times and the all breed shows. Nothing wrong with that, you know. So I think he produced showmanship, substance, and good structure, and pretty faces.
Yeah, she was a beautiful, beautiful bitch.
Soft bitch. Yeah, I loved her.
Absolutely. One of the questions was, how do you raise your dogs from the whelping box, training, etc., to the show ring? In other words, do you have any secrets to share?
Secret, that's just all I do. I mean, the only secret really is to get them to show. I mean, I usually, the word cookie, they will cook you more than you even know their own names. You know what I'm saying? Usually, even when they were 6, 7 weeks old, I go cookie, and I clank the pan, and they all like, ah, you know. And as I get older, if they don't look up at that pan, they're not going to get it. They're looking down on the ground, and say, idiot, up, and away. You know, look up at the pan. Even to this day, I do it every dog in my kennel. They do not get their food until they bait for their food every day. I take morsels and put it in their mouth, and they spit it out. I go, you will starve until you show. And they get the hang of it. They're always hungry, and they eat it. And they eat, you know, I do it all the time. And the puppies, you know, a lot of them will leap up in the air, and they spin around, leap up in the air, because it gets them animated for this stuff. And it just gives them a certain style, and, you know, just how they hold themselves. And, you know, sometimes they go up in the air and they spin and they fall down. You go, oh my God, you know, you pick them up and so on. But they stand there and show right back, way back on, you know, there's no leads. They stand way back, and then I slowly give them the morsel, and then they show, and they go, okay, and they get their food. And that's how I train them. And that's the only secret, really. I mean, you know, what's the secret? I mean, I just make sure they show. Lead bringing is another thing.
Yeah.
I tend to want to look at them more than put them on the lead, and I pay the price later on. You know, so that's about it.
It's great.
Oh, ears. I'm a fanatic on ears. I always say the inner part of their ears don't see the sun until they're a year old. Because I want natural ears. I don't lead ears. I never did. If I had to do it, it'd be a disaster. So I don't do it. So they're just taped. Judy Evans actually taught me that trick years and years ago. I bred to light up the sky, and she said, anyone who brings to light up the sky, I'll show you my ear secrets. You know how Judy is. And she showed me how to do ears, and it stuck, and I've been doing it ever since. You know, yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So what disadvantages or advantages do new breeders have today that are different from when you started almost 40 years ago, or are some maybe still the same?
Did you say advantages and disadvantages?
Both, yeah.
Well, the disadvantage is Facebook. That's the disadvantage. There are so many times, again, I'm going to be in trouble, but no, I'm kidding. There are so many times that I have seen a comment, that's so pretty, or I love that. Why? Why do you love it? And I've seen people that I respect in the breed like something, and I know they don't like it. That's a disadvantage to this breed. I will not like anything. I don't care who it is. I won't like anything unless I like it. Because you're telling people that you validate that. Maybe it's the judge in me. I don't know. I always think we should have if you're in the breed as long as I am or you are, to have integrity is the greatest thing. Have integrity. And to like something you don't even like. Well, they get mad at me. Well, they're no friend then. Hit the road, Jack. If you think I'm going to like something because you're my friend. Why are you afraid of a friend? They're not your friend if you're afraid of them. You're afraid to get it wah, 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 wah on the telephone. Hang up. You see so many things on Facebook and everyone's going, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah. And you're going, the heck? What's wrong with these people? It's not even that pretty. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder, we always say. But I know these people would not like that dog. They're all about expression and the eyes are over here. And it's happening a lot. And, I posted a picture of in high regard. I just, as a memory came up, and I just loved his eye. I just loved the set and the expression. And everyone said, "Oh, what a beautiful puppy!" And I wanted to ask him, what makes that puppy so beautiful? But Candy would think I was being condescending and being cocky. But I want them to tell me why. Because if Facebook's all about learning, time to learn something. There are so many times, and I probably shouldn't say this, I wrote to my friend, I said, why the heck did you like that picture? It's not, what's wrong with you? You would hate that dog. Stop being fake and be real. And it ruined a friendship because I found it lacked integrity to like something you didn't like. Stop being fake and be real. So I think Facebook is a disadvantage. It could be a great advantage if people would be truthful in their heart how they feel. I mean, I'm not saying to say anything rude because that's not nice at all. Your mom always told you, don't say something. If you don't say anything. It's not nice at all. And I don't say anything. Why would I want to hurt someone's feelings? But don't get their hopes up on something you don't even like. So I actually stay off Facebook a lot. I don't even enjoy it anymore. It's obsessive. It's a control mechanism. It controls you. Why would you want anything that controls you? You lose your sense of self when you're being controlled. Lack of respect for yourself. So I go on during my lunch break and I eat my sandwich and I'm going through Facebook a little bit and I go, oh, okay. And I called Tim. I go, why the heck did you like that puppy? He goes, oh, I didn't like it. It was nothing. I was like, well, we're talking no more about it because you know how I feel about this, But the advantages of Facebook would be if people were truthful and wouldn't doctor pictures. Having breeders who are on the mentor list compliment dogs and tell them why they like this dog. I mean, John put a picture on one time a while back. What was her name? Champion Tart Inside. Audacious, I think her name was. And I put on what a beautiful, beautiful, curvaceous bitch. And John appreciated that, which I would too if someone was commenting on my bitch, because I thought she was really, really curvy and pretty. So I won't say anything unless I mean it. I just won't. you know, so those are advantages to post pictures. And I think the advantage for us as well-known breeders is to put on there why we feel this dog is good. That would be an advantage. It would teach newcomers, okay, and don't comment on the ones you don't like, because you're telling these newcomers that is acceptable. And we've had this again, here we go. We've had this conversation on how many times with colleagues, all the show, we talk about, oh my God, you know, the phone is always hot. Did you see that? You know, we do it all the time. So I don't want to hear people say, oh, he was mean, because we say it all the time. You know, it's hard to answer those questions, because is it harder? I think you learn more when you get dumped. And you wonder why you get dumped. You know, again, in retrospect, when I was a kid, you know, I get dumped a lot. You know, and I would, you know, cause that jerky jam. First, you blow your top on the phone coming up with dog shows, and that van is smoking going home from a dog show, and then you kind of cool down and you think about it. You go, well, I guess that, you know, it's a pretty dog, you know. So I think it's hard right now, because, you know, it's you don't see a lot of great dogs anymore, so it's hard for anyone to learn. And I notice a lot of newcomers hire handlers.
Mm-hmm.
And handlers, and they say all the time, I do well under that judge. Because they do. Mm-hmm. You know, so that's also a disadvantage. They take the dogs, they finish them, person learned nothing. Because the handler was a magician, my magic wand. You know, the dog looked fantastic, and they don't even like know why their dog won. And then they join the collie club. Let's get that judge. They put my dog up. That's judging my specialty show. You know, it's hard. It's hard for newcomers, because I usually hire a lot of the handlers. And it's hard for a handler not to accept money. It's a vicious cycle. You know, back in the day, the handlers would go, miny, miny, you, thank you. Because they have this collection of beautiful things that they would show, but these were good breeders. Now people buy dogs from people, and handlers show them and they finish them. You know, and if they can't finish them at they can't finish the collie show, they go to the all breed shows and they finish the dog. And they don't learn anything about it. And then they ask the handler, who should I breed my bitch to? Here we go, no learning. Mm-hmm. They rely on the handler to tell them what to do with their dog. They don't learn nothing. Then they get their judging license. You know, so it's a hard question, Lauren, to answer, because it's a sad time in dogs. You know, I guess the best thing is to mentor someone who will actually open their doors and speak the truth with them. You know, so did I answer the question, really? I don't know if I did.
Yeah, I think, you know, it comes from there's a real lack of actual passion for breeding dogs, or that whole part of it. So it is, you know, more about.
It's a sad truth about it. You know, I'm not an old fogey stogie. I'm turning 55 this month, next month, I should say. I don't want to push it, but you know, where is the breed going to go after we're gone? You know, I don't know. I don't know where it's going to go after we're gone. Everyone's saying to me, you know, in 10 more years, it won't be dog shows anyway, so you won't have to worry about it. You know, let's hope there will be. You know, I don't know. It's just harder. I think a lot of breeders grew up on farms. I know I did. My father had chickens and horses and cows and one lonely pig that fell off the pig truck down the road. He ate one in our yard. Good bacon later on, and now everyone grows up in a neighborhood and they don't know much about raising dogs. They think dogs belong on the sofa, and they take these dogs and make them pets. When you love something that much, you get a little kennel blind. Love is blind sometimes. And that happens a lot now. And I was thinking about this interview, in the car going to work this morning. And, and something came to mind. This might be even off the subject, what we're talking about. One of our members of our colleague club, she does show and she does agility. And she said to me, and now she's finished dogs. She's finished all of them. But she said, I went to agility because I won honestly. Because when they do their jumps and their runs, the judge can't fudge it. Everyone's watching. But she found that in the breed ring, she wasn't as fortunate because she thought there's a lot of funny business going on. Because people, like I said before, people don't take this anymore. They don't take injustice. And they go to agility because agility is booming. It saved our colleague club from burning to the ground. We make decent money on it. And there's so many people in it. And then Les years ago told me this, she didn't do spade neuters. And Les said to me, she says, if I had to do a spade neuter when I started in dogs, there would be no Les Canavan dogs. Because she took that pet collie and bred it. And then there became a Les Canavan, who has been admired by many people. Now she's the icon. So it's like a double-edged sword, really. Everyone now push spade neuter. And I kind of, think that too. Yeah, I don't want them to breed them to anything, but a lot of people, even Pam said that she had a pet collie. A lot of people started with a pet collie and they bred it. We're stopping that from happening, So there's a lot of things, I believe, in the reasoning why the breed is losing numbers. It's a lot of things, animal rights especially also, the towns and everything else. So it's not just one thing, it's a lot of things. So, and that's my spiel.
Well, kind of going from that, and it kind of segues into this next question. In part one of the last interview, you discussed as a judge the importance of rewarding a virtue that the breed may be lacking at the time. How can we educate judges to follow that example?
Well, we really formed a brand new system with Judges Ed. We almost had the standard come to light. It's basically a pictorial of our standard. Every word in the standard is shown in a picture. In fact, I had a couple of people, now I only did this 1 year because we couldn't do searches. I had a couple of people who have been to a lot of them, and she says, I finally realized I kind of get it now, and I feel a little more confident going for my license. And I felt really good about that. Like, oh my God, something is working, And I got some really nice letters from a lot of people who really admired it. And it meant a lot to me because I poured my heart out into this. I spent every weekend with my nephew working this. No, Danny, right on. And Frank Trevino was so good at getting the pictures lightened for us a certain way. So we'll look, again, it takes a village, so I really am so thankful for my friends, and Cookie Jones helped us out a lot. Don Fitzpatrick helped us out a lot. Tim Bowder did. I asked my peers and they all showed up to help, which was great. And of course, I asked John and Judy, the Eden Rock people. I mean, I asked a lot of people, Debbie, a lot of people for pictures. And we just kind of brainstormed because there were a lot of great dogs that just didn't take good pictures, So it's a hard call. I mean, Tom and I had this discussion, a while back about that. There were a lot of good dogs, because we reuse a lot of the pictures from Tom's because those were the best ones. And then we found a lot of other ones that were kind of in the crypt. We found a couple of those, and I start off with this seminar about breed type because it is general appearance. And I tell a little story about, I quote a little line from Funny Girl, and so it's kind of gonna, whatever. But anyway, when Fanny Brush is looking for a job in show business, and on her last attempt, she turns to the station manager and she says, "Why can't anyone recognize me? I feel like a bagel on a plate full of onion rolls. No one recognizes me." And I said, this is a great line because no one recognizes, we need to recognize true breed type, And I started off with a bitch that a woman that had a blue bitch, and I love the blue bitch. And she just said she just looks so different from all the rest. Because, you walk in the ring and you see all these square dogs, and all of a sudden you see something with kind of flowing lines. You think, okay, that one's a freak. So let me turn to these square dogs. This is probably in vogue now. So again, that pretty curvy bitch was the bagel on the plate full of the square onion rolls. And that's kind of how I brought into that. I felt you got to break them in with a little bit of laughter and you rope them right in. And we talked about breed type, recognizing breed type. And that's what it's all about, breed type. We don't ask all breed judges to know the finer details because they're not going to know finer details. They're just not going to know it. And it was hard for me because I'm so detail-oriented about everything, about the head and the eye. And I had many conversations with Linda T. And I'm going, Linda, I says, there are going to be some collie breeders now, judges who are coming too. And I really want to educate them. But she keeps saying, the all-arounders, it's going to go right over their heads because it's too detail-oriented. So I really wish that we could have a breeder judge seminar and have an all-breed seminar because it's going to be hard to group these two together for finer details because we are a head breed and we are, without a proper head, you can't get proper expression. And I wanted to get that across, but it's hard when you're dealing with all breed people who have a whole different look at their main breed. So I really wanted to paint the picture. We have a lot of pictorials of really pretty dogs. We did the skeleton molded into the body of the dog. We have all graphics: flat skull, slight stop, raised eyebrow, rounded muzzle, blunt to the end, not square. We really, it's basically a handbook, and it's done beautifully. It's done in landscape style, a 36 color magazine. Beautiful. Stop texting me. What's texting? And that's what we did, and I Annette thinks maybe we should make it available to anyone who wants to purchase it because it's quite a bargain to get a pictorial of what the standard's trying to say, plus a little history on the breed and form and function. And also we did a video with examining the breed because we had great conversations with when Dr. Cindy was president and Connie was there about a lot of all breed judges. A lot of time they just pat them on the head and go right down to the shoulder blades. No, that ain't gonna happen no more. Under my reign, that ain't gonna happen. So I made a video of Connie examining something, I think in St. Louis, I don't know where she was. And I got a hold of Kyle TV to ask him if he could send me a video of Connie examining. And we did it. We have a video, and we show what this judge is looking for. It's a visual, it's pictures, diagrams, everything for them to look at. And then we had a movement video coming and going. It's so hard to find correct side gait now. So that's another thing we have to work on. But I'm a perfectionist, and if no one learns, it really bothers me. And having those notes come back from those judges was really, it was humbling, I have to say. You know, I really felt that our hard work was paying off, and that's how we're doing it. And you know, you can't drill into chisel foreface these judges, but we do talk about expression. We do show expression. We actually define it in so many words, you know, and hopefully they get it. And we quiz them. We're going to do what we were going to do in Syracuse is actually pick the dog for expression and tell me why it has good expression. Because I don't want them to walk away ignorant of the fact that that's important in this breed. And without proper head, you don't have proper expression. Okay.
Yeah, so let's take a break and then we'll come back for the second part of the interview. All right, we're back. So let's move on to our next question here. Dan, when judging, what is a fault you cannot put up or look past? What is something that bothers you when judging?
Well, I'm like a broken record. It's expression. I can't avoid lack of expression. I can't avoid that. And lack of balance. You know, I can give on, you know, maybe the rear a little bit, or you know, the stop is not perfect. I can give on that a little bit, or, you know, but like any other judge, you want it all. But I want to see dogs with great virtue.
Okay. Next question here is, what are your thoughts on a dog winning that doesn't have any outstanding virtues? Why are common dogs winning, and what does that mean for our breed?
Well, I think a mediocre dog really, I mean, a dog with no major fault yet, but no major virtue. Is that what you mean?
Correct.
Yeah. Kind of a common looking mediocre dog. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does much of a breed. Anything. I mean, if they're the best thing there, then you put it up, obviously, because it's not gleaming anywhere. But I think a lot of people who judge today are fault finders. Okay, they'll see a virtue that they like, but they'll also zero in on the fault, and they always think the fault is more important than the virtue. You know, and I think that's a little bit of insecurity on their part. They want to be a good doobie. You know, the standard, I mean, AKC says you own the ring. You're not renting it from someone else. You own the ring. And when you own the ring, you kind of man the ship. So you can distinguish good from bad. I just think they're afraid. I don't think if you're an insecure person, you should get your license. You have to be a person with strong conviction. And, you go in the ring sometimes, and these handlers, they stare you down, these daggers in their eyes. Like, you're wasting your time, not even looking at you. I'm looking at your dog. So your eyes can bug out of your head all you want. You're not going to intimidate me. That's how I feel about it. You know, I don't stand for that bull crap. You got to push me around. You know, I'm here to judge your dog, not to put you up. So get over it. That's how I feel about it. I feel if you're insecure, you You can be easily intimidated by who's in the ring. Many people have asked me, what do I do when, there are many people that I have high respect for who show to me. I never look in their eye. I look at the dog. I look at their knees down. That's it. You're ma'am, Mr., ma'am, sir, boom, boom, boom. I don't, it's very hard when someone that, it is very hard because, you respect them, and a lot of their dogs are behind your dogs. And you feel disrespectful not to put them up. You don't want to hurt their feelings or anything. But I didn't become a judge for that. I became the judge because I want to see the breed moving forward. Okay? And I had to learn that the first year. Because I'm kind of an emotional guy and I really care about feelings. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And I've had my friends show me the National, and I have not put up. They're crying at ringside. I thought you'd love this dog. I did like your dog. I didn't dump it. I placed it. I did like the dog, but I like the other one better. So if you start off from day one, stating your ground, meeting your guidelines, no one's going to intimidate you. No one's going to walk over you. If you're a scared person, intimidated person, don't do this. Or be a person who says the breed comes first, and everything will fall into place from that point on. I've had some people shrug the ribbon from my hand. I've had someone smack me on my shoulder with the ribbon because I was honest with them. And I said to them, I could not do the white hawes. It affected the expression. Smack right on my shoulder. And they stormed out of the ring. And I knew this person very well. If I wanted to be a real jerk, I could have done something about it. But I said, you know what? Why? It's not going to, So you just need to put the breed first because that's why you did it. Don't do it for ego because you did it for the wrong reasons. Don't think you're the greatest star because of it because you did it for the wrong reasons. Do it because you want to see the breed. You love the breed and you want to do well by the breed. And that's why you do judging. It's not to, I'm going to teach you a lesson. It happens a lot. And there's no place for that. We have enough crap in politics in this country. Why don't we be the better person and do the right thing? You're judging. People have said a lot of things about me. Who cares? But I've been called a jerk, an a-hole when I judge, because just because the judge wants to see your dog do the best for you. When I first started in dogs, I showed a bitch called Stars Somewhere in Time. She was star breeding, bred to a Milas dog. I showed her at Western New York under James Mangles. I didn't really know who James Mangle. I knew James Mangle, but now I go, oh my God, I'd be like, it's a great James Mangles. I didn't get it back then. And I was not giving him what he wanted. So he said, excuse me. And he grabbed the lead from my hand and showed the bitch for himself. I was like, whoa, okay. And he goes, thank you. Give me one his bitch. Because I wasn't giving him what he wanted. I just judged out in Ohio. And some people were kind of ticked off at me. I got reports back. And I think they missed the big picture. I'm not doing it to be cocky. I want your dog to achieve greatness. I can see something in that dog. So I will say to you, ma'am, can you please back off your dog? You're jamming its ears behind its front legs. It's ruining the picture. And when she did it, boom, winners. Because I got the picture that I wanted. You know, I tell people why I didn't do what I did, because you pay for my opinion. Don't you want it? I guess not. You know, you just think I'm an a-hole. You walk out of the ribbon in your hand, you throw the ribbon in the trash, and you go home. You know, it's not like that. I'm not there to ruin your self-esteem. I'm there to help you. I'm here to help your dog. I'm here because I used to be a handler. I used to be a breeder handler. I know how it is. I would love for someone, if I was jamming the neck tube far back, to tell me, sir, can you do this? I do it because I care about your entry. I do this because I want your dog to do better. And people take any advice the wrong way now. They take everything personal. I'm doing this to help you. You know, and I don't know why people, maybe it's my blunt New England accent. I don't know. But I'm there to make your dog look its best. I mean, I can remember when I did Springfield. I didn't think Donna Williams had Aladdin's hair up long enough around his neck, so I groomed him for her in the ring. Then I got the look I wanted, because it wasn't balanced. He got best opposite that year. I do a lot of that because I don't know, I just want to see beauty. I can see a look that I love, but I just want the final edges on the product. You know, I'm not saying tease it all up, but I just want to have even flow behind the ear because it just chops it off funny. So people need to understand that we're trying to help you in the ring. We're not trying to be a jerk. You know, I will put up my best friend. I will dump my best friend, and I have dumped my best friends. They know it. And I have put up my enemies, and I have dumped my enemies. But it was their dog I judged and not them. You know, when I first started dogs too, they, oh my God, you know, well, that one just bred to that one's dog. You know, that's why he put it up. Well, if he bred to your dog, maybe he liked what you had. Why would he breed to something you didn't like? You know, so I mean, sometimes judges are taken the wrong way. You know, I want to see your dog do its best. I did something in Virginia, and the dog was so ungroomed. So I told the woman, when you come back in here, please groom your dog. It had clumps and mats behind the ears. I gave him reserve because she didn't do much with him when she came back in the winter. I guess she didn't listen to me. But I liked the dog. You know, so I don't know, people need to listen to people who've been around for a while, to take the advice from them, because we're only trying to do right by your dog and by you. You know, so did I answer the question? I don't know, I went off on a tangent.
Yeah, you did. Do you think that part of that kind of going hand in hand with people getting their licenses too soon, that may be why they don't have that confidence to, you know, really judge the dog and just the dog?
Yeah, I mean, if you're able to sit back and decide on a litter of puppies, you pretty much will be able to judge class. But if the handler says to you, I like that one, okay, I'll pick it because you want to show it. What does that teach them? It teaches them nothing. It makes them feel like they can't move without the grand poopah, his christening. And it's just a disservice to the breed. You're not teaching anyone anything. You know, I guess you need a hard knock life, like Annie, and you first start off to you know, get dumped a lot and to learn why you got dumped and to learn. For years, I didn't know what a flat frontal bone was. Everyone talked about flat frontal bone. I was like, I don't know how flat bone, you know. I bet a lot of judges sometimes, if you said something to them, they go, oh, yeah, well, you want a flat skull. You know, it's probably the same thing, but, you know, to fill it all in, you know, it's, you need to be seasoned. If you can't decipher through a litter of puppies, you're not going to decipher through a large class of dogs. It's experience, you know, and I think people want to jump right to it, you know, especially now, you know. Can I answer the question?
Yes. And our next question is kind of deriving off of that. Do you think more judges should start with holding ribbons on undeserving dogs? Would that help strengthen the breed? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I did it myself. And the steward said to me, oh, you forgot to award select. I said, I know. Back to her. I know. Like a gun to the head. You know, I mean, I didn't like enough dogs in there to do it. You know, again, integrity. Why would you award something you did not believe in? You know, again, you don't get a ribbon for participating. Why even try? It's like no one has to do anything anymore and they get a ribbon. You know, sometimes these dogs win at all breed shows. They get a championship and then they want to special it for this, and that. You know, I'm going to go for my, you know, and then they show it. I have award. When it first came out, I was a little uneasy about this, you know, select thing. So I did award it reluctantly. I was like, oh my God, this dog. You know, I wouldn't have that dog in my kennel. It wouldn't be in it. And I know Anita did it in Oklahoma. And if you don't believe in what's in front of you, don't do it. You know, I mean, if you have two specials, well, you won select by default. You know, like one dog, you know, two dogs, two big specials, and you go, oh, I got it. There was only two dogs there, and you got to select. Yeah, so I don't special dogs. I'm cheap, and I think it's a waste of money. And I'll tell you why. But to each his own. I don't want to spend thousands of dollars for one year of satisfaction. The next year, I go, who is number one dog again? I don't give a shit. You know, no one cares. What really should matter is advertising your dog, producing great puppies. Spend money in advertising what he's producing. You know, I mean, I touched on this in the EYES seminar. I think we have two standards. We have the winnability standard and then the collie standard. So I think some judges can be fooled by that. But yet, you know, it all depends what walks into your ring. You go, okay, all right, yeah, that's one here. You know, you can't get water from stones sometimes, you know. I mean, there was in our shows in New England, a judge, I was stewarding for a judge, I won't say who it was, and they said, I really want to excuse this dog for lack of merit. It was so bad. And I said, are you ready for it? Because if you do, all hell's gonna break loose. She said, well, okay. You know, again, social media. My dog, blah, blah, and everyone rallies around the underdog. You know, Mr. Big Guy or Mr. Nasty Woman Judge didn't give my dog blah, 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 and the dog didn't deserve it. It's only one person's opinion. Takes a little list out. Okay, Mary Jones. Not showing her again. You know, it's just like going to a movie. You paid all that money for a movie and you hated it. Well, I won't see that movie again. On the next movie. It's just like a dog show. You know, you pay for their opinion. But people take it like they kidnapped their kid. they freak out about it. Or they burn their car in the parking lot. Oh my God. It's a lousy all-breed dog show. You want the opinion from a person who's never owned a collie? You know, even when I started, there was some bad all-breed judges and some good ones. And you only show to the good ones. You know, you live and learn, you know?
Yeah. And you have touched on this a little bit, but what advice would you give a person thinking to become a judge?
Know the breed inside and out. Be able to defend every decision that you make and be confident in the decision that you make. You know, don't be afraid, again, to be a pioneer. Don't be afraid of that. You know, not many people withheld ribbons. Anita did in Oklahoma. Oh, the backlash. But you know, it only takes one person to inspire others. And once it happens, they'll all follow suit. You know, not every dog deserves to get a ribbon. You know, like again, be secure with yourself. Don't let anyone own you. Don't expect favors, because it happens too. You know, put the breed in high regard. You love this breed. Would you want anything that you loved to be disrespected? I know I wouldn't. No one screws with people that I love. I'm very protective of people that I care about. And that should be each judge who judges the collie, a breeder judge, I should say. You know, you have to really, when you love someone or something so much, you want to safeguard it. You know, be someone that people can look up to and not talk behind your back, you know, or say bad things. I will say that the judges who are insecure get the biggest entries.
Mm-hmm.
Judges who know what they want, don't care who brings to them, don't get the big entries because they can't be intimidated by people. You know, if you want big entries, okay, be that person. But I don't thrive on big entries. I'm disappointed. Who isn't? But I go there. Your dog is judged properly. It has gone over exactly the same as every other dog in that ring, because that's respecting the breed, respecting your entry. You know, like I said, know it inside and out, because you will be on the hot seat sometimes. You know, I know a lot of judges say, well, if you don't like what I did for you, then don't show to me anymore. You know, I did a show out in Iowa, and this woman wrote me, she says, oh, you like everything sired by blah, 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 blah. No, I don't. Only the good ones sired by blah, 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 blah that I put up, you know? So, yeah. Just be true to yourself. And if you love this breed, safeguard it.
Great advice. Talk about some of the most memorable and unexpected discoveries you found while judging.
That flights are never on time.
That's true.
I remember I did the cycle of Louisville. The first time I met Butch Shulman and his mother. I was judging down there, and I missed my plane out of Boston, and I was delayed or whatever was crazy. And June Morris, June's an angel. She's a nice woman down there, and she goes, well, get on the next flight and get on down there. So I said, okay. So I jumped. I had to get a flight at 5:30 in the morning out of Boston into Louisville. Of course, nothing's direct into Louisville. So she picked me up in this big old classic Cadillac. Picked me up. She goes, I'll get you to the hotel. So we got in the car. We flew to the hotel. I whipped off my clothes, threw my suit on. I don't care if it was wrinkled, and we dashed to the dog show. And I walked in there and started clapping. About time you showed up, you know. So I judged it. And that was the most memorable assignment that I had, because I had a young dog under me. And when he walked in the ring, I looked up and I said, what the heck are you doing here? Matt Stelter. Okay, Wisconsin, Louisville, kind of a long way, you know. And he showed this sable puppy dog. I think it was 6 to 9 puppy dog. And I melted when I saw this dog. Oh my God. I said, this dog is really pretty. Beautiful eyes, light head, you know, nice neck, good length of back. And, you know, so I gave him winner's dog. There was no denying that dog was going to go up. And, oh my God, that's a winner's dog. When he walked in, I said, love this dog. He was the epitome of what I loved. And I brought him in, gave him winner's dog. I almost gave him breed that day. It was between him and Pewter Angel. And that dog was champion Southlands Bowen Island. That was the most memorable time in my judging. I judged national twice, but that dog, he was just something. I don't know what it was. He screamed collie, you know, soft, and you know, it still brings tears in my eyes because that dog was so beautiful. I love that dog. And I was so ticked off that he didn't get winner's dog in Louisville. I was like, damn, he won the class that year. Damn, that dog won. You know, and I love the dog. He just had this beautiful collie expression, soft and loving and soulful, that dog, you know. And yeah, that was a memorable time when I had a dog under me. And what else? There were some really pretty Eden Rock bitches that I judged too. I think Raven something virtual I don't know what she was, but she was Eden Rock. I think Jennifer had showed her to me, and I wanted to buy a puppy from her. She was so pretty, and I'm cheap. I don't buy nothing from nobody. But that bitch was beautiful headpiece. Oh, it was exquisite. What other things that come to mind? No, I think that was one of them. Of course, I love the bitch that won Springfield. She was a beautiful bitch. Creators, oh God, loving. Oh boy, I'm bad on names.
Loving Reverence.
Yeah, I loved her, and I did love Aladdin.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that was nice, and yeah, those. But Bowen Island was probably the one that really he made me excited. And that doesn't happen a whole lot. You know, when you see those great ones and you judge, it brings tears to your eye. Oh my God, that's the epitome of what I think a collie should look like. It was just so beautiful, you know. I think he was, and I think his sister was showing to me too, Island Fever. I think, but that was the one, you know. And I was this close to putting him breed over Pewter Angel, but Pewter Angel was really pretty bitch too. So, but I remember that show because I was late for the assignment. It was a disaster getting there. But at the end of the tunnel was the light. It was Bowen Island. You know, it was really nice to see that dog. And I've always followed the dog, and he's had great success. You know, but those were some nice times that I really liked the dog. And you know, and again, I bred to Aladdin. That dog was a nice dog too. He was kind of a, you know, I hate to use the term good old fashioned dog, because a correct dog should never be old-fashioned. but he just had the muzzle, the turn of muzzle, softness and coat and bone, and a nice flat skull on him. I liked that. Good, and a nice stop. And some of those dogs I breed to. I don't care who you are. If I like it, I'm going to breed to it. And that dog I bred to. And a lot of that dog's behind a lot of my current dogs right now. So I'm glad I judged the national because I never got my hands on him. And I think he had gone best in show under Jim Freddy right afterwards. So yeah, it was nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I those a lot. Those shows, but it's Bowling Island. That's the one.
Yeah, and it must be cool for you as a breeder judge to find a dog so young that was very impactful to the breed also.
I had no idea. I know I just loved him. Some people probably differ with my vision. That's okay. That's what makes the world go around. But I really didn't. Didn't make me feel good about what he produced. It was just that I judged him, which is he did produce beautifully. But as a judge, that's the one that stuck in my mind, that dog. Mm-hmm. And will until this point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So being a master breeder, you were also a master handler. Any handling tips?
Okay, whatever you say. Handling tips. I always remember. No, I handled dogs many years ago. I do owner handling now. I actually hire other people. But you need to envision your dog from the side while looking at the front. That makes sense to you? Mm-hmm. Once you kind of go like this, look side to side, see where their feet are, and a lot of times the dogs that are a little bit straighter, they always stand four square. The ones with all the curves, it's funny, some of the dogs with all these curves, when you put them in the yard, they stand perfect four square. Feet right where they should be. Get them on the ring, like, well, I got a little lazy here. So, but sometimes I don't really like people who set their dogs up. They call they should walk into a natural pose because they're all manipulated. I'm all about authenticity. I'm just some bugger about it. I don't know why, I just am. But I want the dog to come to a natural pose. I never, hardly ever set a foot, ever. You need to walk them into it, and they all look like kind of like this because if they're not natural, you need to walk into a nice pose, and that's when they kind of reach up with themselves and they arch their neck pretty when they come to a natural pose because that's who they are. They're not supposed to be all stacked up. And sometimes I go, stop that. You're ruining your dog. Stop stacking the dog. It's like they're all under themselves and they make it worse sometimes, So without the question, I get off my tangent.
That answers the question.
Okay, good.
Handling tips.
Yeah.
So kind of going back to judges education here, you're now the head of CCVA Judges Education. Last year at the CCVA, that was the first presentation for your committee, and it was sold out. Can you tell us what the Judges Ed Committee is doing to educate judges, especially the all-breed judges?
Well, right now we're kind of frozen in time because we can't do anything about it. We had a lot of them that were canceled. We had one in Louisville and they canceled that week. I think mid-range they canceled it. It was a night. We had 40 plus people, more than we should have. It was a nice presentation. Of course, I'm never satisfied. I always want a better presentation, and that's what being in it for a couple of years, you kind of work out the kinks. What was the question again? I'm just kind of picture it in my head. So I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Tell us what the Judges Ed Committee is doing to educate judges, especially all-breed judges.
Well, like I said originally, we did the visual standard. I have it here, but it probably won't transfer well on screen. But like I said, we're doing evaluating the collie. What you should be looking for when you're examining like I said before, don't pat it on its head or just act like you're touching something. You're like, you don't know what you're even touching. You know, we show this in a video and we still it, and we slide, you know, the standard across the screen, and then a dog appears to show what the head should look like, checking for flat skull, you know, all this stuff. We always check, you know, so it's basically what the judge is looking for, a knowledgeable judge is looking for when examining your entry. Because you feel like you're gypped. You know, you want to know that the judge actually touched your dog, you know? So we do a lot of that. And we were going to, again, I talked this about before, we were going to ask them why they picked first in the class and describe it to us why they chose that. I don't want anyone leaving not understanding what they're looking at, you know. But it was last year was hard. It was 40 people, you know, and then the video was kind of going on the screen. I was so embarrassed, but everyone thought it went off well. And you know, when it's your own thing, you always think the worst, because you always want it to be, you know, great. And, you know, but every year we plan to approve. I mean, Roxanne has been a godsend to me. She is the Darcy Brown to Tom Cohen, really. She's helped me out a lot. When I needed help, and we always talk about how we need to improve this and improve that, and then we would give it to the committee to go over, you know, and she was really good at working out. She's a whiz about getting the worksheets out to our judges. We also get worksheets off. I put this. We put worksheets on the screen. Expression, balance, and general appearance, head, and expression. We give them 6 dogs. We want them to judge this class on this virtue. And then we ask them why. And I really think people learn more from interaction with other students in there or attendees in there. They go, oh, I never thought about that. You know, so I want interaction. I think you learn more as a group than just have a guy going blah, 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 pointing at the screen, you know, and we did do that. We had people, you know, interacting with each other about why they thought this was good, and this was, you know, that wasn't so good. So I think you need to teach by judging them to really, you know, the AKC always says, oh, you must do it, show virtue, 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 virtue. But if you show them the opposite of what a virtue is, they'll know what it means not to look at that anymore. And we want them to decipher, you know, which is, because you're going to have 2 dogs in the ring that you're going, oh my God, I like them both. You know, so you get to really judge them properly. It's all about details. What dog excels more than other? You know, I want to touch on this too. I mean, about dogs that excel. You know, I mean, mediocre dogs can only get you mediocre dogs. So, I mean, 2 + 2 can only get you 4. That's it. 2, no matter what you do with 2, you always get 4. You know what I mean? So, but 2 + 5 gets you 7. You know what I mean? If a dog excels in virtue, it's greater than a basic virtue. You know what I'm saying? It's you know, no major fault, no major virtue. That's a mediocre dog. But a dog that excels can get you places. You know what I mean? It can bring on better things. You know, there's room. All right, there's room to grow. Let's say 2 + 2. Well, you can only get so far. You're in 2. But if you get 2 + 8, there's room to grow to 8. If that dog excelled in that virtue so beautifully, he's going to soar on that scoreboard. You know, the virtues should be so great. Again, love is blind. If that dog excels so beautifully, the fault doesn't even exist. because it just glows with virtue, especially when you can find, I think Jeffy just posted a smooth on, I think it was one of the artisan dogs, and it had this chest, and you go, whoa, you don't see that anymore. It was like a beacon of light looking at these dogs that excelled in things you don't see. Now it's like a cathedral chest. You go like this, and it's like, okay, is my hand going to be falling in there somehow when I can't get it out? Because they just sink in. Mm-hmm. When they have a chest, you ain't going nowhere. You go, oh, wow, that chest. So, great things like that. I mean, that smooth dog I put up in Springfield years ago, which is a traveler dog, he had some faults, he had some virtues, but when he excelled in body and movement, the dog just floated in slow motion around. Like, whoa. It was like you stood in time and everything will just pass by you. It's like the dog just captivated you as he moved, and this slow, beautiful, reaching motion. He didn't have to fly around 80 miles an hour because he covered ground. His little front wasn't going like this. Slow motion. He got places. Years ago, you see the old judge and they went, go slow around the ring. It was like poetry in slow motion. You know what I mean? And those dogs should be recognized, because if you don't award them, sometimes people don't breed them anymore. Well, he's not, and then that virtue is gone. But I'm not saying to put up an ugly with a virtue. They have to be pretty with a virtue. Just because you have a neck that reaches space, look at it. You go, okay. You first see, you go, whoa, wow, exciting, dramatic. You go, oh, yeah. You look at it, but then look at it. You go, wait a minute here. Okay, those ears are behind the front legs. Do you remember that? I'm not sure if maybe you're just we're younger, but the old Chrysler cars, they would say cab forward design. You remember that old car, the Dodge Intrepid? No, well, I'm really dating myself. But they took the front wheels and they moved them forward, and took the back wheels and brought them back, so it would allow more interior space. That's today's dog. The legs are the wheels, and they're brought forward. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the back legs are brought even further back. So you have all this space between the front and the rear. But if you took the front and brought the front where it should be and brought the back where it should be, they're shortened back. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Because they're so drawn back, the croup kind of just drops off. So now they're square and croup with this back a mile long. Their front is forward, and they're square. They're straight down in front, and they're straight down in back. You have a long, straight, rectangle dog, with this neck going to space, blast off, you know what I mean? So it takes a knowledgeable judge to not buy into the wow factor, the winnability standard. The bigger the neck isn't better. A balanced neck is better because it allows the body to be curved. And what I mean by a balanced neck is up and outward from the shoulders. So you have all this curvature in the dog. That's the wow dog. Not a Play-Doh machine, just twist it and just pops out. It's a little square thing with a long neck. You need movement on these dogs, soft, flowing energy around them. And I think that really separates the experts from the wannabes in the judging department. And I want to tell you something. You do become better judge the older, the more you're into this. I mean, When you first judge, you want to be a good judge, blah, blah, blah. But I think you can give on things as you go along and a reward virtue, because you want to be a good doobie when you first start. I was the same way, you know, but then you start getting, hey, you know what? I really need to really protect the breed in a way and to move it forward. And I think you get better at it, you know. That's it.
Yeah.
Sorry if I'm rambling on, but I mean, that's
Great to listen. So since you have been judging for some time and judging dogs from all parts of the country as well, with that vast experience, what is your evaluation of where the breed stands today?
well, I think we have little pockets of quality. You know, there's certain areas, you know, years ago, California was never noted. Oh, California, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I judged in California, and I thought they had real pretty head pieces. I was really impressed with the Pacific Northwest. I liked the dogs there. I actually had tough decisions. Like, oh my God, I'm not used to this. Oh my God, back to the drawing board. You know, I had to go through two my specials. I had two beautiful tri bitches. I think one was Gian Shields' bitch and one was Jenny Lake's bitch. Both are beautiful bitches, you know, and it was hard to pick from them, because if one lacked, the other one took, and vice versa. And you have to, like, you know, judge them. That was hard. You don't see that anymore. It's like, okay, you're number one, and yeah, 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? It's how you do it. Like, again, little pockets. I know I haven't judged very. I did Florida many years ago. I haven't done Florida. I haven't done Texas for a while. I usually do a lot of Michigan. I haven't done Northeast because that's where I'm from, you know. So I can only tell you where I've been, you know. So I was impressed, I have to say, when I did Virginia many years back, and I like the dogs there too. I guess it depends who shows up and who had a good crop this year in their harvest, you know. So.
Mm-hmm. So we're at our last question here.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Oh, so what are your hopes and wishes for the breed's future?
I think I already covered a lot of that already. I hope people make decisions that's for the best and not buy into the winnability standard to go the collie standard, and show their good ones under judges they respect. You know, I don't know. I mean, like I said, new judges, sometimes they make mistakes and they go, oh, I should have never done that. I've done that. Oh, I should have done that. You know, hopefully they get better and not worse. You know, where I hope it goes to, I hope it becomes great again. You know, I mean, one year national we came by and I was like, oh my God, we didn't like anything in the classes. You know, a lot of judges don't want to do dogs because there's the qualities. I mean, I'm sure it was always been that way, but you know, there wasn't a ton of quality in dogs. Bitches, you can find a couple of bitches that you really love. I mean, I've always found some pretty things when I did bitches, but some of the specials, I'm not sure who finished them. And then I'm not trashing dogs. I'm talking dogs. You know, we had this discussion. We stopped talking dogs. And we start talking about dogs. And not in a good light. When you talk dogs, you talk with like-minded individuals. And you bounce ideas off each other. You know, and that's the great thing about being in our community. you can be around people you respect. You don't have to be even in the same family. I've had, Evelyn Godown in New Jersey, she's totally more Clarion. She has a lot of Clarion. And Barbara Schwartz, I had such great conversations with Barbara Schwartz because, whatever you think about Barbara, she was smart. Barbara and I had great conversations together. She wrote the most beautiful article, and even Judy Evans. I put their articles in our seminar about the way the heads are shaped. You need a nice, well-blunted wedge, and Barbara kind of mirrored the same thing about expression. I thought those were such smart articles because they weren't all this glorification of big words and blah, 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 you fall asleep. These were articles that they were exciting and they kept your interest. Like, you eat popcorn. It's like these were movies, like watching a movie. For a person who's dyslexic, I'm dyslexic, it's hard for me to comprehend the written word. And I read these articles and it was like I was talking to them. And that's how great they were. Great art. Barbara, she was a great writer. She is a great writer. And Judy was a great writer. That's why I incorporated both those articles in my seminar. I thought they were smart. They were displayed in a way that everyone understood what they were saying. It didn't keep them wondering, what does that mean? Because it was like you were talking to them over dinner. I think Greg Rayner did some graphics about it, about the wedge. But those were great articles that Barbara and Judy Evans wrote. And so I put them in. I thought they were well-deserved. I put them also in my Eyes Have It seminar because it's all about the head, So I would hope that people like Judy and Barbara could write great articles for the future. And I still think those articles should be for the future because they're spot on to what's going on in the breed right now. And they point it out right to the point where you can visualize it. I wish we had more mentors for people. Just because you win a lot doesn't mean you should be respected. You should be respected for the quality of dogs you produce. And that's the inspiration for the newcomers, is what you produce. But everyone is, of course, really in awe of all these wins. But I think it's the content of the dogs who they produce and who they own their own kennel. And I really want people to do seminars and to tell them why they did these breedings. I've been in many seminars and they go, well, I bred dog A to dog B and got dog C. Who cares? Big deal. Okay, I went to Walmart and bought 2 pieces of pie. Who cares? Why did you buy the pie? Because it was luscious and delicious and it made my mouth water. That's why you buy a pie from Walmart. I don't buy pies from Walmart, but anyway, it's just an instant. Tell them why you do these. Tell them why you do these things. Because just say you bred dog A to dog B. What does that tell you? I bred dog A to dog B and got this wonderful dog. Who cares? It was just, I guess you show the dogs in one pen, they bred each other. So it was like, as you gave me no reason why you did these breedings. Be honest with people. Tell them, well, this dog didn't have a good rear, so I wanted to improve on it. Stop acting like you're the greatest star and be there again to mentor these people. Tell them why you do these things. Because how are you going to teach them anything? How are you going to teach anybody why you've done these breedings? It doesn't tell a story. It just says, well, I did this and did that. I mean, it doesn't, I think Debbie Holland should do more seminars because she's so passionate about what she does, and she tells why she's done these things. And, you know, it doesn't look poorly on you when you tell them that your dog has a fault because you're honest. Tell them why you wanted to improve on the dog. That's why we're breeding dogs, to improve. why, why are you doing it for? You know, because you want to improve on every generation. Let's hope we do it. But you know, I ask people, did you learn anything from the seminar? No, I had a great time. What was it about? Gee, I don't know. I talked to blah, blah, blah. You're not teaching them anything. You're telling them a story. Tell them your words, your story, why you do these things. That's why they came there for. Not to read from a textbook. They want to hear from you. They want the real you, why you've done these breedings. You know, and I think Debbie, again, would be good because she's passionate about why she's done these things. You know, but I know she doesn't want to be interviewed, but she should be interviewed because everyone looks up to her. Because she's, you know, it's like rags to riches. Not meaning she started with rags, but she had humble beginnings. You know, my mother already was in dogs. Debbie started from 4-H and worked her way up to a dynasty of dogs. People want to know that inspiring story. That inspires you. You know, like you watch this news, you know, like Judy Garland was like a little girl in Michigan. You know, she became this big superstar. You know, people love to hear your humble beginnings. They love it. It makes them identify with you and to teach them that they could do it someday. You know what I mean? So I know, Debbie, you don't want to do it, but you really should. You know, people look up to you, you know, and you're passionate about what you do. And people believe what you say because you mean every word, you know. So again, I mean, Debbie and I are on the same age bracket. You know, that's probably the future for the breed. You know, maybe your mother should do a little bit of seminar herself. All right. So, like I said, it takes a village. We all have to get together in, you know, not hands across America or anything, but I mean, you know, it's just, you know, we need to learn from each other. I mean, just sit down and just hash it out. You feel so much closer with people when you talk about your downfalls, but everyone uses those things as a weapon against you. It's not fair, you know, because you know greater than anyone else. And I think I told you this before. My teacher told me years and years ago, the only thing they have on you is the time it took them to learn what they know. That's all they have on you. You know, teach them how you learned it. You know, give back to the breed that way. Why do you go to school to learn? Because school teachers inspire you to do better. Just be one of them, you know? So I've talked enough. But again, thank you. I cannot believe the overwhelming support for the first one, but I'm flattered. I'm flattered.
Yeah, well, you know, thank you for letting us do this again. You know, it really did resonate with a lot of people at the first one, so we really appreciate you doing the second one for us.
Well, Lauren, thank you. I really appreciate you asking me to do it, and it was fun.
All right.
Okay.
See you later.
Yeah, bye-bye.